Hi, well, today I'm here with my good friend David Kite, who I met all the way back in 2008, wasn't it, David?
Right then, it was I think it was Steve Foley and Simon Colson. I think we did some Simon Colson stuff as well.
Yeah, it
But
was a
we
seminar.
met on stage. I don't. It wasn't that we were
Yeah,
actually. I think you probably just left your job then, hadn't you?
I had. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is, the reason I've got David on the call today is because David is the prime example of somebody who makes an incredibly good living from an incredibly small email list.
Part
So,
time.
how many people are on your list, or what? Well, let's just talk about one of your lists. So, how many people do you have on your list, David?
So I have a little over 2,100. I think something like
Wow.
2,108 or something like that. But they are really qualified. And this is the secret. You can have a small list, but every one of those is a vetted nursery owner. So I'm in the childcare sector.
Yeah,
Interestingly enough, that 2,100 people actually probably represents somewhere in the region of like 25% of the industry.
that's
And,
incredible.
and turns over somewhere in the region of 5.5 billion, I think I calculated. So that's smallest.
Wow. And
That's
you make over 100K per year from that, don't you?
it's well, yeah. If you're talking in dollars, yeah, a lot more than that. But yeah, in
Yeah.
pounds, over 100,000. Yeah. But so over the last 6 years, on we've got two companies,
Yeah.
and it's generated. I think I calculated from my filed returns because this is all through a limited company, so it's all
Mhm.
documented. I think it was £470,000. But the interesting thing is, Sarah, I started knowing nothing about childcare, no list, nothing. I knew nothing. I had, and I just
Yeah.
met somebody, and I used them as my peacock, if you like. I used him as my front end,
Mhm.
and that gave me credibility. And then I built the list up, and I started sending emails on his behalf. I wrote his emails to start off with. And it was, I'll tell you a funny story because one day his wife, ex-wife now, at the time read one of his emails and said, "Oh, that's a bit risky, risque, isn't it?" And he said, and he laughed. He said, "No, no, Dave wrote that." And Neil turned around and said, "He knows you very well, doesn't he?"
Fantastic, fantastic. So it's interesting, isn't it? Because I think a lot of people, when they think of email list building, they just think of, oh, the internet marketing niche, and that's it. And in reality, email list building is in all different industries.
Mm.
So within the childcare sector, how do you actually, I mean, do you do like affiliate marketing, or are you selling your own products? Or, I mean, how are you actually, what are you selling in that market?
Okay, so I use email as my primary means of selling. I used to do sales pages and things like that. I got really lazy these days. I just sell straight in the email.
Mhm.
So I email them 3 times a week.
Yeah.
I've listened to your course. That was very good. I listened to it in the car yesterday on the way down to Bristol, which was great because it's on your mobile app, and I listened to that in the car, and it was easy to consume. That was fabulous.
Thank you very much.
And I run. I've got 5 mastermind groups, and if
Yeah.
you're going to start from scratch and you've got a little bit of experience and you start building a list, the easiest thing you can do is start a mastermind group. You have to have no preparation, and that's what we do. We started off with a mastermind group, 8 people in the room. We were only charging £300 per month
Mhm.
because that sector couldn't afford to, it had a mindset that they wouldn't pay more than that, all that sort of
Sure.
money. And that's how we started. We started building mastermind groups, and then we developed a marketing club. Would you believe I sell packs of training cards, and we've sold over £30,000 worth of training cards.
Wow, really?
Yeah,
That's
well,
incredible.
we've done conferences, and again last week we suddenly decided that maybe it's time to do another conference next May. I put out
Mhm.
one email, and I had 80 people register interest for tickets in from one email. So that's
Wow.
about 16 grand's worth of potential business from one email.
Yeah,
and now I've got to go and build the shopping cart. But
and now you've got to do some work. Yes.
yeah.
Absolutely. So just a little thing there. So I gave David early access to my new course, List Influencer. So he's had access to it and he's consumed that. And that's part of the reason actually why he's on the call, because he loved the content so much, and he was just, he sent me an email about this. So I said, look, we should jump on a call and talk about this, because I didn't realize that David and I had such synergy with our email lists.
Exactly.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I mean, David, you're probably on a few internet marketing lists, and you probably see a lot of the kind of, and everybody who's listening, who are watching this video right now, you're all on these kind of like, and what I call like the anonymous internet marketing email lists. You get, hundreds or thousands of emails from people, and you have no clue who these people are. And most of them you don't open. And I think a lot of people, when they start an email list, they think that's the way it's got to be. And you've got to have like tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people on your email list to like make it work. So for you, David, how did you kind of come to the realization that actually building some sort of, huge, massive, huge email list with a churn and burn kind of mentality, how did you realize that wasn't the way to go? And how did you kind of like get into doing kind of, relationship style email marketing to like a really small targeted list like that? How did that work for you?
Yeah, have you come across a guy called Dean Jackson?
Yeah,
Dean Jackson, yeah. He sort of advocates this a long time ago. That he advertises that if you have got a small list of 500 people, you can earn a good living. But if you've got 1,000 followers, good good quality email followers, you can literally generate yourself a fortune. And I follow that. In fact, I've been doing this, I think, all my life. And years and years ago, when we first started, I was I don't know whether you recall, but I was doing property with John Lee, and also Mike and Ant do. Yep. Mike's my brother, and he does Your Property Network magazine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even then, I had a membership site, and people didn't log into the membership site, but once a week, I took some synopsis of what was going on and sent sort of like three segments on a Friday of things that you could learn. And people were happy to stay paying £100 a month to be a part of my membership site just for that email. And that was sort of like the wake up moment, that if you're communicating and make it very easy for people to consume your content, like yesterday, you made it really easy for me to listen to your course. And I was traveling, had 2 hours, I could listen to your course. And if you do that and you just provide emails, people consume it. And the hardest thing with any email communication is getting it read. And I know you talked a lot about how you attract attention, or use curiosity in the subject lines, and you go into all sorts of interesting things like that. But what I do is that in my subject line, I've got square brackets in the subject line with nursery owners on it. Yeah. So when somebody looks at your email, they look at who you are, and then they look at the subject line, and it says nursery owners, and then it goes on to talk about the rest of the subject line. Like today's is how to run an event using a pumpkin.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah.
It's all about the quality of the connection. And if you have something to sell and somebody trusts you, this people buy sometimes without even reading the sales letter. They just know.
Yeah, that's right.
That you're going to deliver. We've done 3 conferences before, and we've got 5 mastermind groups. So as soon as we posted that this was available, they immediately jumped on and booked their tickets at the hotel. They booked the rooms at the hotel. They haven't bought the tickets. The tickets are not available to sell, but they're booking rooms through booking.com because we set the date. And that's all to do with trust.
Yes.
And this is all, everything that you talk about, everything that I do is all about relationship and trust.
It's very similar to like if like one of your friends recommends a movie or something, They go on about film, and you want to go and see a film. You're like, oh, okay, I'll just go and see the film. You don't go and think, oh, maybe I should go and read a review on that movie, or go and see a trailer. You just think, no, I'll just go and see the film because my friend said it was good. It's a very kind of similar thing.
In my case,
yes,
if somebody recommends a golf club.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, you just go, yeah, exactly. You just take their word for it because they said it was good. I mean, it's interesting. The same kind of thing has happened to me at like the London lunch. You know, I've been at a London lunch and I've been chatting away to somebody, like someone I've never met before, like some completely new person, met them at the London lunch, maybe had like a half-hour conversation with them. And they were telling me about like some new page builder or something, saying how great it was. And I've gone home and bought it. You know, I've gone home and just literally off the strength of that, just thought, oh, I'll check it out, and read no reviews, nothing like that. Gone and signed up.
Well, okay,
that's happened to me a lot.
Did that happen this morning when I suggested that you go and have a look at Descript?
I've gone and had a look at it. I haven't signed up yet, but I am going to sign up to it. So
well, I think you can get it for free to start off with, to trial it. And just for listeners, it's a podcast editing tool that allows you to take out ums and uhs.
Which would be very good for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I've worked really hard to try and reduce the number of ums, but yeah. But that's exactly it. You know, I said to you this morning, oh, you want to look at this because that will fix that. And that's it. The recommendation comes, and because there's the trust there, off you go and try something. So,
absolutely. Yeah. And it's interesting that you said that number, 500 people or even 1,000 people, you know, you can make a really good living from an email list, because at the end of the day, how hard is it to build a list of 500 people? Not hard, is it?
As an example, when we opened up, what we did, and we sort of hit a really good process when we started. And I know this is not about list building; it's about the list. But when we started a Facebook group, and you had to pass a vetting process. So you had to fill in a form to say how many nurseries you had, where your nursery was, etc., and that you were an owner or a director of the business. And one of the parts of that was you had to give us your email address, which is what we had 170 in a week.
Wow.
Well, 170 a week. And within 6 to 8 weeks, we had enough people that I could pop out an email saying, anybody interested in coming to a mastermind? And all of a sudden, you know, 8 people put their hands up, joined us in a hotel room. 4 of those 8 are still with us 6 years on.
That's incredible. Yeah, we do something very similar with our Facebook group, with the email and everything. We use there's a great tool actually called Group Funnels. I don't know if you've heard of that. Nope. And it's an add-on for Chrome, and it allows you to pull the email addresses from the application forms when you approve people in your Facebook group. It pulls them straight to a Google Sheet, and then you can use Zapier to connect the Google Sheet straight to your email list. So Group Funnels, about $37. It's brilliant.
Is that a recommendation from a friend?
That's a recommendation from a friend. No affiliate link, but just go and check it out.
By email, and I'll go check it out.
We've added 5,000 people to our list so far using Group Funnels. So it works really, really well. So, you know, excellent. So that's another recommendation right there. So yeah, I mean, I think the interesting thing is like, you know, a lot of people when they start out internet marketing, and I was the same way, and I think a lot of other people are the same. I think you're a slight exception with this, but when I first started internet marketing, I got sucked into the whole building mini sites, doing SEO, and you know, although it can work for some people, it didn't work for me, simply because I'm just like no good at SEO. It's just too technical, too difficult, and it's just like you get sucked into this kind of like minefield of building websites, doing SEO, and before you know it, it's like almost like a glorified hobby, and you're not actually making that much money from it. Now I know Dave is like a highly technical guy, so he's like brilliant at SEO, but I was never very good at it. And the thing is, I think with email marketing, it can actually be incredibly simple because you don't need to build like this massive infrastructure of websites or SEO or technical stuff. At the end of the day, it's just about writing an email a couple of times a week. That's it, really.
And
how do you think about that? I mean, would you agree with that? Because I see the same thing happening right now. A lot of people, it's like, I wouldn't say it's misselling, but a lot of people are I don't know the word for it really, but it's kind of like that they're over teaching people internet marketing because they know it like sells. And so they will teach people really complicated stuff that it's like this, like they have to join a membership, and then it's like they teach them over a year to do this really elaborate thing. And before they know it, that they've been building all this stuff for a year, and they're not actually making very much money, when actually all they had to do was just add 500 people, maybe 1,000 people to an email list, and that's it. You know, they didn't need to do all that other stuff. And I see it's still going on now. I mean, do you see the same as well, David?
Yeah, absolutely. So
yeah,
I used to recommend MailChimp.
Yeah.
I went off MailChimp because it went all funny. I now use, I recommend MailerLite because it had all the good things that MailChimp had. Yeah. And you can get 1,000 or 2,000 people for free. And unlike MailChimp, it's got all of the automation. You can bring in somebody else to support you, so you can add in admins, etc. Now, since we've just discussed that you can make a good living from a list of 1,000 people, or in my case, 2,000 people, you've got MailerLite is free. Yeah. So there is no excuse. I write 3 times a week, and it's the first thing I do on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I just get up 9 o'clock, grab a cup of coffee. I'm not allowed breakfast until I've written my email and it's posted. It takes half an hour.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that people worry about is that they don't know what to talk about. And I think you go into that really well on your course, etc. And like you, I talk about the fox that appeared in my lounge when I was sat watching the telly and the head came around the yes. I'm now discussing that same fox with a crow and a squirrel eating my damn apples, and they're lovely apples, but the fox has discovered that as well. So I talk about things like that. I talk about my children who have a snowboarding clothing company in Austria. I talk about my mum. I talk about pumpkins. I talk about, but it all tends to lead to a lesson.
Yes. Yes.
And so no matter what. So today we're talking about. I was driving to Bath, and as I came down into Bath to see my mum, I looked over to the right and I saw a field full of cars, and I thought it was a car boot sale on Sunday. Lots of cars. I think it was a car boot sale. Looked again and suddenly realised it was a pumpkin patch. And there were hundreds of people buying pumpkins.
So pick your own pumpkin type thing.
and I smiled, and then I thought, hang on a second, that's a really good event that my nursery owners could use. They can buy 20 pumpkins, run a quick Facebook ad, invite people to come along to carve the pumpkin, give them a recipe to make pumpkin pie, tell them what to do with the used pumpkin when they finish with it, put it in the woods so the deers can eat it. That's all an email that starts off with me looking at somebody buying pumpkins through to an application of that to get people in the nursery as an event for an hour. Well, when people come into the nursery for an hour, they see what you're doing, and some of them might buy. And this is the secret. And I think the hardest thing and the biggest lesson people need to learn with emails is don't sell in an email, but give people an opportunity to buy. Yes, and that transfer, one, it takes the pressure off you because you haven't got to close people.
Yeah.
And so I used to have lots of sales pages, landing pages. As you said, I'm very technical, and I've got Groove Funnels and Infusionsoft and WordPress Elementor and Convertri. I've got all of those tools, and I had to all of them. Now, at the bottom of my email, I said, if you're interested in me doing your Google Ads, hit reply and let's have a chat. Yeah. And I'm so lazy that I don't bother to do that. I just say, let's have a chat. Let's talk about what your needs are. And it makes life so easy. And you can do it really quickly. And so, as you were saying, if you were start building an email list, start sending emails 3 times a week. I really should do every day, but I can't be bothered.
Yeah, same here. Exactly the same here. I mean, it's interesting. Whenever I meet like school friends, or there's like a family member who's just like quit their job, or like made redundant or something like that, laid off from work, and they always get like that phone call, and they always say, "Hey, you do that internet thing, don't you?" And this is what I teach them to do. Email list building. That's it. That is the thing. If they want to if they want to make some money off the internet. It's interesting you're talking about pumpkins. I last week in my newsletter, same thing, pumpkins. Got back to France after not being here for 3 months, and found a load of pumpkins growing in my compost heap.
As you do.
As you do. Well, because there was I was putting food scraps on there, and there were some pumpkin seeds in there, I think. So tonight I'm having pumpkin curry.
Oh, very nice. Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah.
Well, we came back one year and found melons in ours.
Oh, right. Really? Wow.
Yeah. But so another story is my children have got the Snowball Clothing Company, and I think it was last year. My daughter has been accumulating emails, and she sent out an email and suddenly got sales. And she said, "Dad, why have I not been building an email list all these years?"
Yeah, exactly.
I did tell you.
Fantastic. Well, David, thank you so much for your time today. It's been a great chat, and it's brilliant because we first met when I it's one of the first events I ever went to. I think I bumped into you, and you were a
bit nervous at that time. This was all new to you, wasn't it?
It was, yes, absolutely. It was very new to me back then.
Yeah.
I was really lucky that I think it was Martin Navis who first introduced me to kind of like proper email marketing with newsletters. So I think I was very lucky to bump into Martin at a very early event who taught me the whole kind of email newsletter thing. I mean, I look forward to the next 10 years. I really do. Although things are changing, email is the same constant. It really is,
Well, I've been running it for 6 years, same list. I get next to nobody leaving.
Yeah.
And the other one little snippet I'll suggest is that to help build that relationship, I don't use the corporate formatted. I just use text. But one of the little things I've done at the bottom is include a photo, just a headshot of me underneath my name. Mm-hmm. And so then when somebody meets me, they feel like they know me because they've seen me 3 times a week.
That's right. Well, that's what coaching students and people at events always say to me. They say, "Sarah, I feel like I've known you for years." And it's like the first time I've met them. They always say that, so it's okay. Thank you so much, David. And thank you so much for your time. And I look forward to meeting you at the next meetup, probably in November, actually. So I look forward to that.
Fabulous. It's been a while since we've physically met. So thanks for that. And speak soon.
Bye-bye.